many would say that the FAA acted slowly, perhaps. Was the FAA slow and did it hold out, or were other countries perhaps too quick and aggressive in banning the Boeing 737 MAX Air?
Well, first of all, I applaud the president's decision. This is a very good decision. It's very good for the safety of the flying public. It will give the flying public the confidence that this administration believes that safety is number one, and now the planes will be inspected, and people will have a sense of security that when they get on these planes, they'll be the safest they can possibly be.
Alan, how unprecedented is this for the president to make this sort of announcement, not the FAA, not the regulator, and does that in some way undermine it?
Well, it's certainly unprecedented, but I have to say there are so few of these that we don't have a lot of cases to look back at. The last time there was a grounding, Secretary LaHood actually was in office, and that was, I believe, in 2013, and that came from the agency. You know, I think even though the president said he made the decision, it clearly was made in conjunction with the other aviation officials at the FAA and the Department of Transportation. I'm not sure at this time we can say what it means exactly.
So if we can't say what it means exactly, Mr. LaHood, can you read into how Ethiopian Airways wanted to send the black boxes to an agency outside the U.S. to analyze what happened in the unfortunate crash? Is there anything to read into that?
Not at all, because the NTSB is there. They are an integral part of the investigation. When the black boxes are listened to, when the voices are listened to, the NTSB will be in the room. They're an integral part of this investigation, as they should be, because Americans were killed and perished in that crash. And so I wouldn't read anything into it. What I would read into this decision is that the president was reading the tea leaves, and the president was reading the criticism and listening to the criticism for not stepping up, and decided to step up. This is a president who owns his own airplane, and at one time was the owner of an airline. So he knows very well the importance of safety in aviation, and knows it very well. And so I give the president credit here for stepping up and saying that we're going to ground these planes until we know that they're 100% safe. And I think there's not much to read into it, except they realize that now was the time to do it.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, it's interesting, therefore, that we'd heard talk from Trump saying this is a psychological reaction more than any. But how much do we now need to see action from Boeing in terms of software updates, in terms of changes in which they do practice? Because it seems as though they've been talking about a software update since all the way back in January.
Well, what will happen now is the FAA safety folks will work with the Boeing safety people. They'll work in collaboration and cooperation. They will look at all of these planes. They will talk to pilots who have flown these planes. They'll look at the new technology, and they'll decide what, if something needs to be fixed, what it is, and get it done.
Alan, from where you sit, how involved is the Transportation Department versus the FAA? What are the different roles that these government agencies will play in this now?
Well, they work together. You know, the FAA has the technical expertise. The DOT is sort of the link to the White House and has the more political people. But the one factor I want to add here is I think the FAA has not announced officially what happened, but it appears that new satellite tracking data was made available to investigators overnight. So there's a new system that can track planes very precisely from space, and the Canadian transport minister cited that data specifically today in his decision to ground the plane. He said there were similarities between the Ethiopian plane and the Lion airplane that crashed in October. And we know on that plane there was an issue with this Boeing safety system that was pushing the nose down. And he cautioned that it was extremely preliminary. You know, we don't know that there's a direct link between the two. But I think given the world, the extreme you know, reactions by agencies all around the world, the growing public concern, and now this tiny peek at the data from the satellite, I think that's what triggered this action today.
Mr. Secretary, just from your past experience and from, obviously we're very pleased that these sorts of events are incredibly few and far between, but what sort of long-lasting damage do you think this might have on Boeing, on its public relations relationship with the flyers, and how airlines are set to deal with this?
Well, I think people are going to applaud Boeing for finally stepping up here and promoting the idea that if a fix needs to be made, they're about ready to do it, and they're going to find out if there are problems and fix them. So I think, you know, again, I think people should applaud the idea that Boeing finally came to the realization that this had to be done, and whether they were persuaded by the administration or the FAA, I don't know. But the point is, it's being done, and that's what ought to be applauded here.